Hey guys, Zach here. I know it's called football. Arsenal stay flying, stay top of the table. Regardless of that outcome yesterday of the game, they would have stayed top because of the Man City loss to Brentford. Again, Brentford. That game, I had a funny feeling about it, to be honest. And the fact that they snuck away with the goal in like 96th minute, I thought it was fully deserved. They played so well. That Brentford team is really dangerous. Makes you think, all the way back to last season, the fact that they hammered us in that first game of the season. Arsenal weren't up for it. Clearly, we had players out, but this is not a side that that you can take lightly. They've taken points off a lot of top clubs, and beating Man City like that, I mean, it really was a remarkable result for Brentford. So congratulations to them, and also thank you. We are now 5 points ahead of Man City going into the Christmas and World Cup break, which is very odd to say. Doesn't sound right. Um, yeah, let's talk about the game yesterday. It was pretty slow at the start, going into halftime, obviously nil-nil. Nobody really had stepped up to the plate and sort of made a difference. And obviously you have your typical, Martinelli and Gabriel Jesus, the typical players who are there giving you the energy. I thought Saka was really sort of riding, sort of sitting in second gear the entire game, maybe in the back of his head thinking, look, I'm not getting injured, against the last place team in the Premier League right before the World Cup. He's going to be absolutely brilliant for England in the World Cup. I'm sure of it. Hopefully the US can keep him quiet for the most part when we play them later on in the month. But nothing too spectacular. Took on what's his face there, Bueno, I think his name was, a defender. But look, all in all, Saka had a pretty quiet game, I think. But thankfully, he didn't need to be too spectacular at the end of the day because Martin Odegaard came through with 2 goals. I suppose he could have had that goal. He was right there with Odegaard. I think he just beat him to it. Funny interview with Ramsdale and Odegaard at the end of the match. But yeah, Odegaard really stepped up. Captain's performance, I think, yesterday from him. Overall played well. Man of the match, certainly deserved. But again, I didn't think anyone really stood out too much apart from Odegaard, which again, that's what you need. That's that's how you win league titles. That's how you get into the Champions League, into the top four, where maybe you have 8 players who aren't quite up to their usual standards, and someone steps up, and Odegaard found himself in the perfect positions to score those goals. Jesus with a brilliant ball to cut through the defense of Wolves, and Fabio Vieira not panicking whatsoever and just dinked the ball across the line. And yeah, it was a great team goal. The second goal was maybe a little bit unlucky from Wolves. A bit of ping pong around, and again, Odegaard, a really good finish, which is a bit disappointing because I think he could have had a couple more goals this season when you find him in positions like that, and maybe he just goes a little wide, a little too much power, whatever it may be. I think against Chelsea especially, I thought he maybe could have done a little bit better to put that away. Not an easy chance to score whatsoever, but obviously Odegaard is absolute class. And I was talking to someone at work who's not too into soccer, into football, excuse me. World Cup's coming up, and obviously I'm supporting the U.S., so that's going to come out every once in a while. I was explaining to him how he was signed to Real Madrid at 16, and never quite hit the heights, and now the talent is obviously always there, and lots of credit to the manager and obviously Odegaard himself for where he is now, captain of Arsenal Football Club. I mean, it's fantastic to have him here, and he is really such a star player for Arsenal, and clearly a natural leader. Everyone's looking up to him. I haven't seen a bond like this from players. It's like maybe not everyone's familiar with this, but it's like the movie Remember the Titans. Where I'm not going to get into the whole synopsis of the film, but the togetherness. I mean, they started from zero. I mean, you're talking about segregation, racism in the South, and they turned into this championship winning team, and everyone, little friendships, bromances, these two players, and everyone as a whole. And I'm seeing pictures of Zinchenko and Benjamin White at the end of the game, messing around with each other. You see Fabio Vieira and Martinelli, these players who have just been here for a couple months, and the togetherness, and it's so obvious why Arsenal are doing so well, and it's the culture that Arteta has put into this team that's made them play week in week out with such a togetherness, and everybody knows their job. Gabriel yesterday, I have to say, was fantastic, and so much goes over our head, I think, because of the performances we've been seeing from Saliba. Yesterday, I think he was a little bit off and on. A couple straight passes, I think, one really that could have led to something dangerous if it wasn't in fact for Gabriel's block, or perhaps it was Ben White. But regardless, a little bit sloppy yesterday from Saliba, but Gabriel didn't put a foot wrong. I mean, he was absolutely brilliant yesterday, and it's such a shame. It's such a shame. Excuse me, he's not in that Brazil squad. I mean, of course you have some veteran players and Thiago Silva and Marquinhos, who I think certainly were always going to be on that 26-man roster for Brazil. But I'm sure it wasn't an easy decision for the manager, but I really feel for him, and hopefully he can. Oh my God! I've just seen an insane goal. Okay, never mind. I guess it didn't count. Sorry, I have the Brighton Villa game on here. Yeah, just got sidetracked there. Yeah, Gabriel, I feel bad for him. Obviously, the other two Gabriels are going off to Brazil, and I suppose obviously that's deserved. Of course, the work rate of those two definitely deserve to be there, but a little bit harsh on Gabriel. Hopefully, he can stay fit, stay focused, and maintain the fitness. I think Arteta is going to have a camp with these players who haven't gone to the World Cup. Lots of players in there. Obviously, Thomas Partey is there, Odegaard, Zinchenko, Gabriel, and I'm just looking at the starting lineup here. Yeah, of course, there's a Holding's not there, and Nketiah, Tierney, El Neni. There's plenty of players who aren't going to be there, so I'm sure they'll be able to stay fit and focused on that first game back after the World Cup. Yeah, it's a fantastic achievement where we are right now, 5 points ahead of Man City. I mean, I think someone asked an interview after the game or a post-match analysis. It was, how many points do you need to be ahead of City to actually feel comfortable? And I forget who it was, unfortunately, who said it, but they said as many as you can get. I mean, even 10 points, you would think at that point, it would be hard not to become complacent in first place with a point lead that big. We saw obviously a couple years ago Liverpool with I don't know what it was, 21 points ahead, and they had won the league, in April or something like that. And it's hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel because we're only halfway through the season. I mean, we've played 14 games, so not even halfway, not even really close to halfway. In fact, plenty more to play. But look, you can't complain of where they are. Arsenal deserve to be here. I do still think about that Man United loss, and it really stings because you think 14 games, 12 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw, and I wish it was 13 wins out of 14. The Southampton game, we were probably lucky to get away with a draw, to be honest, but the Man United game, just things didn't quite go our way. Man United were good on that day, so yeah, it's just one of those things where you think and you try not to hang your head about it, but also, Arsenal obviously haven't let it get to them, and they have been winning really ever since, and lost to Brighton on the week last week, I guess. Yeah, I've completely erased that game from my memory, but there's only so much you can do. You just have to keep winning and beat West Ham when they come around after the break of the World Cup, and you just hope that maybe we have to go into January and try to bring in a player, maybe a midfielder or someone on the wing to help the depth of this squad. We have competition in places like left back and right back. Tomiyasu has even stepped ahead of Kieran Tierney in that left back position for a couple games, which a lot of people have been pretty vocal about. Zinchenko now seems to be Arteta's man for that position. Obviously, we know he loves to come into the middle of the pitch. Granit Xhaka will find himself sort of in that defensive left back area if he's not getting forward. So really, that's the way Arteta likes to play. It's not quite what Tierney is. I'm not going to say capable of, because the way he darts up and down the left side of that pitch, and obviously he's got a couple goals and we've seen that already this season. But it's good to have options, and it's good to have a headache like that. And don't forget about Emile Smith-Rowe still nursing that injury. Hopefully he'll be back Maybe mid-January it would be good to see him back. That the depth, this is a guy who can play number 10, who can play on that left-hand side where Martinelli does. And again, another player who seems to be left and right and loves to get around and run all over the pitch. So yeah, it's all to play for, man. It's all to play for. But I couldn't be happier with a 5-point lead going into Christmas. It's massive. It's really, really big. You see stats like the previous 6 teams who have had whatever the lead is. They've been at 40 points or 37 points, whatever it may be. They've all gone on to win the title. And you don't win anything in December. You don't win anything with the 5-point lead. In November, excuse me. But it's Arsenal's to win, I think. And what's scary is that top 4 was us. Was there for us last season, and Danny Ings, he's in. Shit, that's unlucky. Look, I'm getting distracted here. Let me wrap this up. It's Arsenal's to win, I think, at this point. We have yet to play City. Again, don't forget we have to play City twice. So that's gonna be challenging. We have to play Newcastle. Don't forget. I don't even know if you can call them dark horses anymore. They're surely, right up there. I just want to see here where they are. I know they're third place. Maybe, yeah, they're 30 points. So, Arsenal, we got a game in hand. City also have a game in hand, but do not discount that Newcastle team. I definitely doubted Eddie Howe. I wasn't sure he was the man for the job. This big takeover for Newcastle and endless money to spend. And, they brought in Eddie Howe, who, people used to want at Arsenal and did what he could at Bournemouth. Obviously was sacked there eventually and took some time off. And I mean, look what he's done there at Newcastle. They've won 5 in a row. And they've hardly really even dipped. I think 6 players that were on that pitch yesterday, were playing under Steve Bruce. So, it's quite a terrifying prospect when you think about it. Newcastle are already in third place and really flying, playing really, really good football, Newcastle. So it's going to be a crazy second half of the season. Hopefully Arsenal can just keep winning, just beat the team that's ahead of you. Arteta does not seem to be losing his head whatsoever. Certainly enjoying himself, but he knows how big this is, and he's doing all the things right, man. The fans, all the away fans, the songs that are being sung, his song, Granit Xhaka, Zinchenko. It's just brilliant to see the atmosphere around Arsenal, the culture, from the fans to the players to the manager. It's all good for now, but we need to see some end product. And man, to see Arsenal win the title this year, I don't know what I would do, but it would be fantastic. So let me wrap it up there, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you've made it this far, I do really appreciate it. Let me know your thoughts. Give me a comment or hit me up on Twitter. That's always down there in the description. So yeah, thanks very much, guys. I will be talking about the USA in the World Cup. Those will be the next videos until we come back from the World Cup. So yeah, again, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you when I see you.